Good day, everybody listening to us via the live stream. Good day, everybody in the room. Thank you for great media representatives from independent media stations from all across Europe. We are here at our first MEHA press conference of the MEHA organization Make Europe Healthy Again in the EU Parliament yesterday on October 15th, 2025. My name is Dr. Maria Hubmer-Mock. I'm a family physician. My background is preventative medicine. I'm a mental health coach, and I am a mother, which is most important because I really want to have a brighter and healthy future for my son, but for all the kids out there in the world and for every citizen around the globe. This is why I am a person who tried to search for like-minded and like-hearted people over the past years, and I found great allies throughout the world. And it's a big honor for me that I could connect with my great friend, Dr. Andrea Lamont-Nazarenko, who is here with me. She is a physician, she's a psychologist, and she is on the executive board of MEHA as our strategic director. With us is Dr. Robert Malone, physician and mRNA pioneer and ACIP member, and his wonderful wife, Jill, Dr. Jill Glasspool Malone from the United States of America. Both came for the launch of MEHA to Brussels to the MEHA launch in the European Parliament. And then we have here Dr. Beate Sibylle Pfeil from Germany, who is an outspoken expert in human rights, and she will introduce her persona because she has done incredible work for Europe and for the world in regards to WHO. So we will have a second panel in this press conference, which I will introduce in the second round. And it's important that people understand Make Europe Healthy Again is not only an initiative, it's a big global movement. And our main aim is to let the people know that here is an independent organization. We are not linked to one political party. We are not linked to one group. We want to offer solutions, but we don't want to go to countries and tell people what to do. We are asking, especially European countries, and of course, not only EU nations out there, what are your needs? What is going on with your health systems? What is going on in your countries? Please reach out to us. We want to meet you. We want to set up meetings. We want to have our experts give you information how you can improve the health of your citizens. Our website is gomeha.com. You will find a contact email address because we really want to hear what's going on in your countries, and we want to provide the experts' knowledge that we have to you and to your groups. On our website, you also find the steering committee members and the international advisory board members listed shortly, all with their bios, with their own organizations, with the great work that they have been doing over the past years. And you can definitely have an in-depth knowledge about the great work that has already been done so far, and where you can also get more and more information. So it's an honor for me now to give the word to my amazing friend. She is like a sister to me, and both of us, we was talking about this idea that we want to create MEHA couple of, I'd say, 11 months ago. We really said, let's do this. And we are honored that we could do this launch together and that we brought so many amazing people from all across the world on board. Thank you so much for the great work you've been doing so far. Andrea, your statement. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria. I want to reiterate some of the things that Maria said. As the Chief Strategic Officer of MEHA, it was really important from the get-go that we were not just another organization on the scene, but instead a connector of the amazing work that is already being done out there. I am from America, and I am so excited to be in the room with so many brilliant Europeans. And the one thing that has stood out to me through all of these relationships I've built over the course of the year is the absolute brilliance and skill and strategies that I see all across Europe. There is so much beauty across all of the different nations. And the missing link is the connection and the infrastructure to take a resistance movement and make it a movement and make it a it is time that our beliefs, our way of life, our sovereignty and health and way of seeing the world, our perceptions become mainstream. The only reason they're not mainstream is because many have been conditioned to believe that what we believe is fringe. But it's not fringe. It's the most basic essence of humanity: love, health, sovereignty. And so, what MEHA is about at the end of the day is an infrastructure, a connectivity for all of the amazing work that is already occurring across Europe so that we can take what's happening and bring it to the next level. A really important aspect of MEHA is that it marks a trajectory switch in how we have been doing what we're doing. Up until this point, we have been fighting. We have been fighting globalists. We have been fighting governmental overreach. We've been fighting corruption and confiscation of our elected governments by unelected bureaucrats. We have been fighting, 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 and we are exhausted because we don't create a better tomorrow by fighting yesterday. We create a better tomorrow by owning it and saying, this is the moment that we define the future. The thing about Europe, which is different from most of the world, and something that I'm very envious over, is your unique culture. You have culture, you have tradition, you have ancient wisdom that can be shared with the rest of the world. This is why the globalists want to make you all the same. This is why we want one world and one health. They want to make it all the same because when you're the same, you no longer have the wisdom that teaches you what you've always known. MEHA is not about creating the new. It's about remembering what you have always known, how to grow your own food, how to cook your traditional meals in ways that don't require industrialized food systems, how to love your family and raise your children in ways that help social, emotional, mental development, how to create communities that are safe and loving and have thriving economies, how to care about the earth and steward your way into the future. Europe have the answer, and every single European nation is different. And that's the beauty of it. Is why I am so excited that you have all invited me as a partner in this project, because I have so much to learn from you all. The world is looking upon Europe to say, can we remember with you? Because when we remember the traditions that make us us, the globalists no longer have power over us. We don't need to fight them anymore because we have what they will never have: the memory of a happy world. Thank you.
How do I follow that? Uh, that was an amazing series of statements. So I'm going to take a more modest position. I'm here in multiple roles. Yes, I'm a physician and a scientist. Uh, I'm also a medical advisor to the MEHA Alliance, which is the United States-based advocacy organization supporting Secretary Kennedy. Let's remember that this acronym, this metaphor, this logic, "Make America Healthy Again," was synthesized by now Secretary Kennedy. It's his leadership and vision that's enabling this. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to participate as a new member of the uh, leadership executive group of the Make Europe Healthy Again movement. I just had this honor conferred on me, this morning. I thank you for that. But my message is that I don't understand, and I don't pretend to understand European politics, European health, European culture. I'm a student. I seek to learn from Europe and European experience, much like Andrea was just suggesting. But what I think I can help do is bring an understanding of the dynamics of what are happening in the United States and the US government, not as a way to tell Europe what they should be doing, but as a way to help inform Europe about our successes and failures. And we will have failures in the United States in the MEHA movement. We will have setbacks. We will make mistakes. I think that the opportunity is to learn from those and grow through those without having to make the same mistakes yourself. The Make Europe Healthy Again movement will make its own mistakes. I guarantee, just like we will make our own. But what we have is an opportunity to walk this path together. And I think this is a core message uh, from Secretary of State Rubio and Secretary of Health Kennedy, that uh, the United States government doesn't want to be in the position of imposing in an imperialistic way solutions on the world. The message again and again and again from President Trump through trade policy and everything else, and increasingly now in its world health policy, and I speak on behalf of myself, not on behalf of the US government, but from what I read about the changes, the policies are going to encourage local solutions. The goals are going to be for the United States to partner with other nations to help them solve their own problems rather than the United States telling other nations how they should solve their own problems. And I think the Make Europe Healthy Again movement has the opportunity to play a great role in this as a partner in uh, implementing policies that extend so far beyond health. As I think Sayer mentioned yesterday, quoting uh, Secretary Kennedy, a healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person has only one, to become healthy. And that is, I think, our goal, our unifying principle is we want to enable the dreams of all humans by respecting their individuality and enabling them to be healthy so that they can be creative, self-fulfilled, self-actualized, independent beings. Thanks a lot for the opportunity to speak to you.
You two are such amazing speakers. It's hard to follow up. My name is Jill Malone. My background is in public policy, biotech. I spent most of my career working on clinical trials development. I also recently wrote the book Cyber with my partner, Dr. Robert Malone. We've been together for 50 years. I am both a British and American citizen. We're really here today to answer the question, what is health? This is what MEHA is about. The Make Europe Healthy Again movement recognizes national sovereignty and subsidiarity, that the health and wellness of people is intrinsically tied to the health of a nation, that healthy nations start with healthy people, that each nation is unique, traditions matter, which is why every person deserves access to clean food, whole foods, and unprocessed foods. foods that are uncontaminated by food additives. Children are our future and we must protect and nurture their health. The parents are best suited to do this for their own children, not governments. This is why it is important that unbiased research results should be made available to the people. But at the end of the day, people should have the right to decide for themselves what is right for themselves and for their families. We believe that no one should have medical mandates, products, or procedures forced upon themselves or their children, that this is a fundamental human right, that governments or NGOs using politicized public health to control people is not okay, that people should have the right to choose what treatments are correct for themselves and their families. These fundamental rights of everyone, which means that the doctor-patient relationship is sacrosanct and must be respected by public health officials and governments. Science is always evolving and changing. There is not just one solution to good health, and unbiased research is critical to making good decisions. I believe that the MEHA movement can really help make these things possible. Thank you.
So it's an honor for me to be part of this really outstanding panel. So thank you very much, Maria. I'm an independent legal researcher. My original field of work was the question of traditional national monarchies, but I was pushed out of this field by the German government in a way. And so what I would like to say is, I think all of us agree that we are now living in a world of more and more authoritarian and totalitarian tendencies, also due to the excessive powers of WHO, for example, the EU, and other powerful international organizations. These developments, of course, also touch upon the freedom of speech, the freedom of science, and we are faced with really um, increasing phenomena of state or international propaganda and manipulation. So all these freedoms are now being under attack. And we also face really serious cases of political prosecution, for example, against physicians or critical scientists. And Germany is really an extremely black spot in that respect. So, and all of these tendencies, of course, also touch upon human health and the rights to life, physical integrity, and the right to individual self-determination in health matters. So, what can we do in this international European framework, also relying on the experience made in the US? I think one of the most important points is to provide or to contribute, at least to provide for objective, independent, science and evidence-based information. And we need to, and in this framework of MEHA, of course, we have any chance to do so because MEHA is about to collect the intellectual power of people from very different scientific or activist backgrounds to go together and to rely on the power of the good argument. This is the greatest power we have. And in this way also, of course, try to influence or to provide, for example, education systems with alternative information based on evidence, scientific evidence, and also, of course, try to influence the media because these two sectors seem to be the most important spots. We need to influence them or try to get into scientific discourse in that respect to change these developments, which are really serious. And in the end, of course, with regard to health, in my view, it is also very important to strengthen holistic views on human health, which are now being excluded with all these concepts of just one-sided pharmaceutical approaches. So in the end, it is on us to stand together and in a way revive the era of enlightenment our liberal systems are based on. Thank you very much. And thank you to Maria, and thank you for this really brilliant initiative. Let's make Europe healthy again, and the world also.
So thank you for the speakers of the first part of this press conference, and I may ask you to get seated and ask our next speakers to come here to the podium. Next speaker is Dr. Asim Malhotra. Please take a seat next to know that he is with us in the steering committee. Dan Estin Gregory, and thank you so much, Dan Estin Gregory, also for providing the live stream of this press conference today. I couldn't be happier because this morning we had a big meeting with doctors, lawyers, health freedom movement activists, with parents, concerned citizens. We invited so many people in, and to hear from what is going on in Hungary, for example, that there is a really strict situation in regards to all vaccinations in Hungary. We could learn about that. We could hear what are the problems they're facing right now in regards to public health, for example, in Spain or in Italy. We heard from young people, 22-year-old, amazing young people who take a stand for the freedom of speech against digital ID, etc. And it's the young people that we definitely want to invite, because today we also founded a youth committee for MEHA, and in the youth committee will be Montgomery Toms and also Lucas Winkler, one from UK, one from Austria. And if you're a young person that sees something is going really wrong, you can join us also on gomeha.com. You will find our contact email address. We really want to invite the young people into this movement. Let's shape a better future for you guys. It's important. So I'm honored to introduce the panelists here. Dr. Asim Malhotra, UK cardiologist and health freedom activist for years. And I'm so delighted that you're also part of our executive board. Dr. Asim Malhotra is our chief medical and scientific advisor. Thank you so much, and thank you for your statement now.
Thank you. Thank you, Maria. So I'm going to share with you over the next few minutes some facts, some experiences I've had, and also try and get people thinking of a concept of what is really at the very root of the problem. You know, and I think about this very rationally, that unless you understand the very root cause of the issue or the problem, any solutions we offer moving forward are going to be flawed. So what I didn't mention yesterday, and many of you may not know this, but I've had an extensive history going back 10 to 15 years at least in being involved in health policy, both in the UK and internationally. I was somebody that got very heavily involved in exposing the harms of excess sugar when, at the time when I came out, all of the research was being well publicized. I was called a quack. You know, who's this guy saying sugar is bad for you? And look where things have evolved to, right? So I was the lead campaigner behind the sugary drinks tax in the UK. I helped and probably the lead campaigner to ensure that low-carb diets were now part of a potential management plan for type 2 diabetes. I stopped the overprescription of statins to millions of people over the age of 50 by campaigning and getting doctors involved to saying this should not be the default option, that doctors should be paid to give everybody over 50 statins. I more recently campaigned with lots of other people, but played a key role in overturning vaccine mandates for healthcare workers. So I do have that history, and I've worked at health policy, and I've worked with people at the very top. A lot of people here, a lot of people in the grassroots who don't necessarily have access to. And that also can create distrust and even fuel alternative theories that there's some plan, there's some kind of agenda that they want to deliberately, let's say, depopulate or whatever else. And I found that could be true, but in my experience, that doesn't seem to be the case. So what's really going on here? Well, in 2017, I interviewed Marcia Angel for an article I was writing for The Guardian. If people don't know who Marcia Angel is, she was the former editor of the highest impact medical journal in the world, the New England Journal of Medicine. And the article I wrote was called Finance, you can look it up, Finance Trumps Patients. Poor research and ill-informed doctors are basically harming healthcare. That was 2017. And I never forget one of the lines she said to me. She said, Asim, the greatest battle we have in healthcare is one of truth versus money. So as obviously the pandemic raged on, and I was then involved in a very different situation, of course, being a very strong advocate to get the mRNA vaccine stopped. I was learning more and more and trying to get much more deep into the understanding of the problem, but also how do we get to this state of, as I said yesterday in my talk, optimal health, which I think at the root primarily has to start psychologically. Okay, we start mentally, and then everything else flows from there. And within that, there are several components that are important for good mental health, which are the basics, okay, that a lot of people don't have. A lot of us here probably are struggling with to some degree some of these, right? So it's about safety, security, and sustenance. This is from birth onwards, like feeling safe, secure, okay? These are things like having enough money to know that you can feed yourself and your children, right? Not having that stress. It's about self-efficacy and self-esteem, feeling that you are valued in what you do. It's about interconnectedness. It's about autonomy and authenticity. When you do not feel safe to speak, that is oppressive on the mind and on the population, and that is damaging to health. And we've seen all of that play out. So moving on from that, one of the things that I think we haven't learned very well throughout history is understanding when we have had huge population upheavals, oppressive regimes, et cetera, the root of the problem, which has changed in terms of the people that are propagating it, in my view, and just bear with me with this, because this is quite interesting in terms of my journey as a allopathic doctor, is that Western medicine is rooted in colonial thinking. And what does that mean? It means that the current model of medicine, which we of course I talked about yesterday, which is horrifically bad in many ways in terms of over-medicating people, lack of informed consent, survives on the mindset that this is the solution moving forward by deliberately suppressing other alternatives such as ancient healing arts of the East. And for me in my journey, part of that was when I come to discover that heart disease can be reversed. I go to India, I meet this cardiologist that's not using any pharmacological treatment and actually genuinely reversing heart disease by helping people change their mindset. So that mindset, I think all of us have to start moving forward. There are two issues, I would say. If you were to take away 2 points from my conversation now with you as a population that we have to think about and get ahead of, is that because of the way the system is, the control by these corporate entities, okay, of information, is we are increasingly losing access to the truth and our capacity for empathy, right? That is crucial and key because we are up against it, right? We are the movement that is trying to change and take down this corporate tyrannical system, and we are also vulnerable to losing empathy. for the people that we are fighting. But we're not fighting the people. We are all part of this together. Okay, so so we have to start thinking, going beyond. We've got to the situation because of this colonial thinking, which also means that we have to change a mindset where people think some human beings are less worthy than others. And that is at the heart of part of why we have this oligarchy, the World Economic Forum, all these people who ideologically, because they've got to these positions of power, also they think they know better than we do what's best for us. And they genuinely believe that. So we have to go into those conversations. Doesn't mean we're not assertive, doesn't mean we can't stand up, but it means a non-violent way of resistance, because that's the most sustainable way forward. So I just want to finish on that note. You all know, you know what we need to do, but we have to, they go, and it's going to happen. We're going to have pushback, right? When they go low, we stay high.
Okay, thank you, Maria. I'm glad to be here. I will speak on behalf of my French colleagues. Some of them are here, Louis Fouché, Vincent Pavon. For us, it's a very important moment, and I should like to thank our American colleagues who have created MEHA with Asim and also Robert Malone and all the team of Robert Kennedy Jr. In a few months, they did a fantastic job. For me, it's an example we have to follow. Of course, medicine in America is different. There are some cultural differences between America and Europe, and even in Europe, with the different countries, different cultures, different languages, it would be stupid to try to make a big super organization with a centralized policy. It's for me and my colleagues, we think it should be MEHA and MEHA now a source of inspiration, to a place to share information between all the colleagues in the medical and scientific field, but also with lawyers, with politicians who are open-minded, some journalists. So we could share the information to have a MEHA level to officialize our work. And in each country, we could unite around us several advocacy groups, groups of patients, group of physicians, group of scientists, and so on. And when I was in the train to come to Brussels, I received on my phone messages from people I know who are leaders of different active groups in France. They said, "Oh, you're creating MEHA with your colleagues. It's fantastic. We would like to join you. How can we help?" So I think it's the start of a new dynamic. That's not only my about it, but my colleagues think like this also. So we should be there to share our information, to share with the others our objectives, our results. And I think one of the important things should be to meet at some regular intervals for each representative of each country, think what we obtain, what are our results, what are our good experiences, also our bad experiences, because in Europe, everything is under control of politics, and we cannot, as a physician, just make a revolution about health. But if we are united and we share all this information worldwide, I think we will be much more powerful. So that's my vision. And thank you, Asim, and all your colleagues to have inspired us.
Thank you for making this happen. It's a great honor to be here. I feel not only representing myself, but the millions, literally millions of advocates in the US that have observed a miracle unfold before our eyes. We all went through the declared pandemic years being pressurized into this sense of just being so small. You know, going outdoors and, you know, breathing without a mask was somehow an act that could get you interred, you know, literally. And what we all went through as individuals was also discovering, the root of true sovereignty, which is nobody has the right to penetrate your body, and certainly on a higher level, your mind. And of course, that was what was most egregious, right? The memes that were circulating at the time, which later were weaponized and could get you, arrested, thanks to the EU Digital Services Act and the UK Online Safety Bill, and similar legislation they were attempting to push through, and still are in the US. But that the media was really the most lethal of all um, viral sort of contagions and vectors of morbidity. And so the other side of that now is that in the United States there is such a profound sense that we have truly retaken, our country, and that this constitutional republic that we, every day through our actions are vivifying, right? Through our actual beliefs, you have to put them into action through civil engagement, has resulted in such profound representation of our own people. Bobby, I know him as Bobby. He's Secretary Kennedy now, which is, again, a miracle, but it is true. He was put on a list alongside myself and other doctors in the United States that at the time were the loudest and the earliest to warn the public about the dangers of the mRNA jabs. And based on the government's own documented, post-marketing surveillance data they released in October of 2020, saying they were going to look for death and 27 other potential life-threatening side effects of the jabs. We reported on it, and they, did a press conference essentially saying we were killing millions of people by, spreading missing information, essentially. And so that was a real wake-up moment for many of us because of the transatlantic coordination, which involved warfare. I've been subject to it. People in my family have been subject to it. And here we are with this opportunity to, take the other side of that, which is crossing the ocean, literally, and these ideological divides, to feel akin and to experience that empathic connection, just to be with people. Took a lot of effort to get here. We're from the other side of the pond, but it was so well worth it. And this is just the beginning, because this is so much larger than political affiliations, egos, logos. This is truly about, first of all, making oneself radically healthy. That's the number one lesson, which is we have to take full responsibility for our health. If we do that, if we acknowledge that we've co-created at the very least the conditions that lead us to suffer, then of course we can uncreate them. And so that's the beauty of taking that level of responsibility. But we also have, like in the US, we have the executive branch, as the MEHA Commission. Then you have this massive grassroots movement that brought, Bobby and others into that position of power. So it's such a great example for the rest of the world of what is possible. And because of what you've started here, actually validates our movement even more, because Bobby and others in the new administration have never been under such intense attacks before. And that's from the outside and inside. This is, COINTEL 2.0. It's very operative. But because of what you're doing here, it only further validates that this is a movement that is so much larger than, particular political agenda. So essentially, what I feel most beautiful about this movement, which is, again, I believe a global movement, is that it combines open source science with ancient wisdom and civil engagement. And those combined are exactly what is going to produce that more beautiful world our hearts know is possible, which is Charles Einstein's book title. So incredible. I always have to reference him. I always want to, but he's a great guy. But the point is that that's what this is really about. And it is really for our children, including our own inner children. That is what this movement is about. So I'm just so thankful to be here. I'm so thankful what you have created. And I think it's just the beginning of an entirely new chapter of humanity's self-reclamation and the next stage of civilization, truly. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, so much. wisdom to follow. And I personally believe that humanity is standing at a turning point. It's a unique fork in the road for humanity's future. Historians William Strauss and Neil Howe coined a stage in humanity's evolution as the fourth turning, and that every 80 to 100 years, humanity goes through the equivalent of a natural winter. And in the winter, as you imagine, there's a great clearing of the old to make way for the new. And in this civilizational winter, we see typical patterns of collapsing trust in institutions. We see disorder, fragmentation. We see loss of trust in one another and ourselves. But we also see the seeds of renewal and what comes tomorrow. And like nature, what follows winter follows spring. And if you think about make Europe healthy again, even in that title, there's a presupposition that we have lost something. And it is true that we have lost a lot of our ancient wisdom that has been spoken about today. But if you look to nature, nature does clear the soil for new seeds to emerge, but it doesn't clear everything. But we risk at this stage of our human evolution right now losing some of the fundamental freedoms that we have long fought hard to gain. So to me, health is more than just a human condition. It is a reflection of the culture in which we survive or thrive. And at this point in history, we not only need to look within ourselves to find great health, but we have to look outside of ourselves to look at how we can contribute to the growth of culture. Because just like the soil where the seed grows, if the soil is unhealthy, then the plant that emerges from it will also struggle or become unhealthy. So good health to me is about, yes, taking personal responsibility. Freedom to me is about being freedom from constraint and coercion. And constraint and coercion are late stage symptoms of a winter turning. But with freedom comes great responsibility. And I believe one of the things that we have most let go of is our own sense of autonomy and responsibility. And there's an old adage that politics is downstream from culture and you get the politicians that you deserve. In many cases, I think that is true. So if we really want things to change and we want Europe to be healthy again, the world to be healthy again, first we must look in the mirror because health begins at home. But it also begins the moment we step out of our front door and we intersect with the rest of society and the world around us. And the more we can become living embodiment of what health means for the future and future generations, then we can become role models. So to me, making Europe healthy again is about restoring what is being lost. It's about protecting what is being lost now. But it's also having the courage to see beyond this winter chapter and into spring, because spring always follows winter. And with spring comes great opportunity for renewal for organizations like MEHA and MEHA and others that will follow to dare to imagine a brighter future and to inspire people to walk towards that brighter future with human dignity in our hearts. Because what's really been lost is our connection to the human spirit and to the natural world around us and to ancient wisdom. The more that we can restore that connection to history, rooted in the present, with a vision for tomorrow, then together we can truly emerge in a healthier world. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. That is what all of you contributed now in this second part of the press conference. Just pure wonderful. And I think the people who listen to us, either here in the room or throughout the world, through the live stream, I think we feel that we are people on the heart. We are authentic people. We learn from our mistakes. We look ourselves into the mirror at night before we go to bed, and we just try to really do the best for us, for our children, for the future of this world. And it's enough shout out, especially to the young people, to engage in conversation, engage in finding solutions. And it's also, as we started MEHA within the European Parliament, with a group of politicians also in support. We know there is other groups of politicians out there in the world. So whether it's EU politicians, whether it's national parliamentarians back in the EU or non-EU countries or throughout the world, we really can send you data. We can really bring you in contact with the experts that can provide you, because I know there are politicians out there, policymakers, that know something is going wrong. And they feel that, and they're just too afraid still because they don't have the data at hand to do something within their regional, even small village, city, government structures or within their parliaments. You can reach out to us. We can provide you with the data. And it's also very important that if there is doctors who got threatened by the medical boards, by their countries, regimes, and they have lawyers, wherever it is in the world, if it is on the Philippines, I don't know, and you hear this message, we had lawyers fighting for doctors who spoke up during the past years in so many countries. And we don't have to reinvent the bike by bringing the data. So our lawyers, whom we have many in the room here, they can provide what they have already been working on. And I also want to tell you that our vice president is former MEP, Rob Host. He is working on a great project that he will inform the public about when it's ready. But what he really wants to establish is also that, especially in Europe, we have so many different languages. My mother tongue is German, yours is French. We have Italians, Hungarians here. In America, if there is independent media outlets, one can get content from the other. I, first of all, maybe don't know the independent media in Hungary or in Portugal. And if I even see a video, I will not be able to understand it. So we will try to establish a platform where one independent media station from a country that has another language than another country will know of each other's contents. So independent media will be able to provide information, let's say an Austrian independent media station, from what is going on in Portugal. What are the headlines in their, not mainstream, but independent media? So this is something that we will tell you more about when we are ready. And I do think it's important that we can inspire each other. And as we can be role models, in colloquial term, practice what you preach, you know, we really want to be people who live lives that can inspire others. We learn from each other. And as a movement, we really, really want to be attractive because we really are solutions based. Yes, we fought a lot of problems in the last and past years. And as we heard before from Andrea, it's not that we fight back, fight back, fight back. It's a we create new. And I know that the people out there who listen to what we all shared today and yesterday, they will get the motivation to also think about what is the right path for a brighter future, and they will enjoy that there is such a big group of courageous people who just want to connect and help each other, because in the end of the day, we're all human beings and we are all from the same source, and we just want to live happy lives. After all, even our enemies, everybody just wants to live a happy life. And we should be a great, let's say, we should offer great ground for that, that everybody gets the chance to live a happy life, even if sometimes we agree to disagree and we don't have to have the same opinion. Even our panelists don't have the same opinion in details. But I know that from this course, growth knowledge, and we are more than happy to bring more knowledge in so many to so many pressing questions that we have out there in the world at this point. So thank you again to all the people who are involved in this great movement. Thank you for everybody who came from all across the world to be here with us today. And I'm just more than happy to know you are my friends. Feels like family. And again, we want to invite you to become part of MEHA. GoMeha.com is our website and get in contact with us. Thank you so much and have a great day. Thank you.